Can you guys talk about that? Maybe Sarah on your own, and then, Kyle and Marci is like a duet. You mentioned, Marci, the writing process. Like, you're kind of the lyricist. I'm guessing Kyle maybe writes the actual formation of the musical instruments and whatnot. But what is the writing process? Because, like, I do a very technical job. It's math, it's spreadsheets, it's a little bit of sales and whatnot. The idea of looking at a blank pad of paper and then like, oh, I'm going to come up with something creative. I mean, my mind just completely draws a blank, I'm looking at you guys right now, and if somebody said, hey, write a story about this family or write a poem about this child, I don't have a creative bone in my body. So can you maybe talk to the writing process of coming up with a song, and then we'll talk about it in the confines of writing a song for somebody?
Yeah.
You want me to go first?
Absolutely. Yeah. Jump in, Sarah, for sure.
Well, for me, as a creative myself, I definitely think it's different for everybody. I think that's a question that a lot of people ask is like, how do you write a song? Where do you start? And for me personally, I feel like I always have like a topic or a title in mind, just like a basic idea. And then I kind of build around that. And everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, whether it's like Marci said, like lyrics or melody, and what they can bring to the table. I think collaboration definitely helps because everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses and what allows the song to be created. But honestly, it's different with everybody because everyone has their own strategy. Everyone has their own strengths creatively. Like if I sit down at my piano and write a song, I usually have a topic in mind, and melody is my strong suit personally over lyrics. So just the sound of the song is what comes to my head first. And I kind of just start building off of this idea of what the title of the song is going to be. And I'm sure Kyle and Marci have a different approach. And it's honestly interesting when you do a co-write and you write with someone else, because they're going to have their own things and what they're strong and weak in, but that's what builds the song and makes it amazing. It's actually really cool to get into a room with someone else and you both collaborate as individuals with your own ideas, your own thoughts, and create something beautiful. And it's honestly, it is a process. And a lot of times it can be fast. A lot of times it can be slow. You can get writer's block a lot and kind of get stuck on things. Yeah.
Right.
So that's really my process. But I'm sure Kyle and Marci, I don't even know, it's husband and wife.
When you say the melody, like I'm thinking of, some of my favorite tunes. I'm definitely in that rock genre. I feel like the music you loved when you were 15, 13, that's kind of what sticks. So for me, it's like Guns N' Roses, Pearl Jam, listening to a lot of Led Zeppelin with my dad and stuff, Creedence Clearwater Revival. It's like, I don't know. Let's see. Does the guitar player like create this riff, put down like 3 minutes of music, quote unquote, and then, it's up to Eddie Vedder to come in and write some lyrics that match the music? Or is it more like people will come up with the words and then tell the band, hey, I'm trying to convey a more slow song about love and heartbreak and da-da-da, and here's my 4 stanzas or whatever you call it, and then go write some music for it? Like, how does it work? Or is it different? I don't know. I am so ignorant when it comes to this.
I think that's a good question to have Kyle answer.
Yeah. How's that work?
Man, it's interesting that you say, oh man, I'm more of like a math person, spreadsheets and everything like that. And you might be surprised to hear me say it. And maybe this is a hot take, but for me, it's all song math. It's all, it's almost none of it is like straight, pure, out of nothing creation. Everything has a baseline, because what you can do is you can build a structure first and kind of have a template. And then it's more of like a paint by numbers thing. So like you said, guitar player, and then Eddie Vedder comes in kind of scenario. Like, for example, whenever somebody submits a song and they've got their whole story there, we already start with, dumping all the Legos on the floor, and now everything's right there, So from a lyrical perspective, we've also got like a clear direction musically, because let's say it's, country, lighthearted, whatever. The song's more than halfway there already.
Really?
So because then if you think that the cool thing is, man, like every time you do it, it's brand new. And of course there's a lot of just inspiration that goes into each song, because we never want them to be cookie cutter. And I think each one can feel real unique, but that doesn't mean that you have to reinvent the wheel, because music's been around so long, especially popular music. A chorus is supposed to accomplish a certain thing. a verse should dive really deep and be more like a microscope. And then a chorus should really sum up the feeling of the whole thing. And then the bridge gives you some kind of spin that you maybe didn't think of before. And that makes, puts the third chorus into kind of this new context. And so what I'm saying is it's a lot more like math than you might imagine. Like, I believe that everybody is creative. I think anybody in every single industry is always problem solving every day. And they're always trying to figure out how to do something in a more efficient way.
Yeah.
And songwriting is exactly that, just kind of reskinned with more of kind of a creative endeavor. So like, for example, maybe you do is just start strumming some chords on the guitar, and then you have a progression. And then kind of a popular Lennon-McCartney rule is just make all the sections different. You know what I mean? So we're like really, really dense, like lyrics, maybe, and then so when you finally get to the chorus, just make it really spaced out. And it doesn't matter. There's no rules. As long as you make each section feel fresh, you win. So it's less intimidating, I think, than people think.
I was going to say too, Scott, that you might be surprised because a lot of people don't use even real instruments. Like sometimes, like with pop music, even it could just be, what's the word for that, Kyle?
Just like a track, just synths and kind of programmed.
A track with instruments where you can kind of create the instruments, and they're not actually like a live guitar or a live piano and things like that. And then other people track real instruments. But I think for the custom song aspect of it, sometimes it's easier if you have the track and those instruments in like Logic as a program, for instance, things that allows them, to create these songs. But then also with the custom songs, like he was saying, we're kind of giving them a template of a place to start, right? So they have, the style of music, they have the story, they have, if they, want it to be upbeat or happy. And so that kind of allows them to create something out of nothing.